self-development isn't journaling, working out, or meditation. It's more of like the things you experience throughout the day and how you handle them. So say you have your morning routine where you journal, you meditate, you do your workout, and then later in the day you have an argument with your wife or something like that.
Right.
Whatever reaction you have.
Yeah.
That is actually the self-development rather than the morning routine of the journaling.
Drew, you nailed that segment, and I heard Rob talking about that. Yo, what is up, guys? What is up? Welcome back to the Bigger Picture podcast. So today, we obviously got a different setup going. We got the video going today to get on YouTube. We got a guest speaker today, Andrew Carniglia. He's a YouTuber. We went to high school together. We've played baseball together for years. Good friend of mine. We recently reconnected in this industry away from sports for the first time. So, I want to introduce Andrew, let him say a few words, and then we'll get into today's interview.
How's it going?
So, Drew with a lot to say, but welcome in, Drew. I appreciate you coming for sure. We got Jason also behind the camera right now, another one of my boys. So, thanks to you guys. But yeah, let's get this show started. So, I wanted to bring Drew on today because I had some questions about me wanting to get my podcast on YouTube and possibly on TikTok or LinkedIn, something like that. And I thought, where's a better place to start than someone my age who's going through the same stuff and who actually has a YouTube channel started. And I've watched some of his content. He's got some really funny shit out there. So we'll leave the links and everything to Drew's channel. But shout out, it's just Andrew Carniglia on YouTube.
You don't have to do that. I don't want to come on here and just make it about my stuff.
But basically,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, bro, of course. So basically, that's why we have Drew here, though, is for the YouTube. So I just want to get straight into it. So sorry, guys, you might notice I'm a little awkward on camera. I'm used to like being invisible behind the scenes. Like you just get my voice, that's it. But here I am. Here's the face behind the voice. So without further ado, Drew, I want to ask you, like, when did you start your channel exactly? How has it been going? And like, what are the struggles with it? And then what are the benefits of having a channel?
I started my channel all the way back in 2017, like a few months before the fires, but and me and my friend Caden Christopher, we just made like stupid little videos because we didn't really know what we were doing, but we just made videos, and you got to start somewhere. But
right, yeah.
So yeah, we did that, kind of just doing it for fun, no real direction into it, and then we were kind of just uploading those videos, and then what was the other part? It was
like what have been some struggles throughout the journey? So 2017, I know you didn't start this year because I've seen your channel up for a while.
Yeah.
I wanted to know exactly when, and during those, because now it's been years, the struggles and also the benefits throughout.
So there wasn't really any struggles because we didn't really see it as like what it is now. We really in 2020, I took a class at the JC, the SRJC.
I remember that.
For filmmaking, and that's when I started getting really serious into it. And then I sort of saw it, not so much my YouTube. I was just kind of using the YouTube to upload my films in. So, but yeah, so the only thing I really use YouTube for is obviously my vlogs and those videos now, but I use it for uploading my films too a lot. So, but like struggles, I only really found the struggles of YouTube very recently, like at the beginning of the year when I started like getting really serious into it.
So I'm going to ask you very specifically about to go into detail of that. Not quite yet. So what I'm hearing though is the first years when you were just focusing on learning the film industry and just getting your foot in the water, so to speak. There wasn't any struggles is what I'm hearing, because it was fun. It was just fun. There wasn't any pressure.
Really doing YouTube
there wasn't any expectation for it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
I see. So, and then during that time, it was just fun, entertainment. Like you were learning.
Yeah.
That was like the perks, the
learning,
reason.
I guess, yeah. We didn't really start learning anything about it till we got serious about it.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Got you. So you were just like fucking around.
We were just uploading like very short, stupid videos.
Got you. Yeah. Okay. And I remember some of them. That's why like I wanted to know the exact timeline. Because I know it hasn't, like, you've had your channel for a few years now, so that's pretty dope. But yeah, so I wanted to ask about then balancing life with college then, because obviously you have your YouTube channel. How do you balance those two things with family, with making time for yourself? I'll get into a few personal health, mental health questions after.
Yeah.
But how do you balance everything with school?
I don't, honestly. It's not balanced. It's not balanced at all right now. But I think very recently at the start of the year, I started self-development and being like I was kind of like open to a new way of like doing things, you know, like I started like meditation and that whole thing, doing that. And
meditation is awesome.
Yeah,
breathwork
it is cool.
Awesome.
But no, balance, I don't know. I just like, obviously you have ups and downs a lot. But with YouTube in college, it helps a lot with like taking film classes at the JC. So I get a lot of experience out of that. I've learned a lot from that for YouTube, and then, but with YouTube, you know,
are you?
Sorry,
no. It's all good.
Think about
like
the balance, but
it sounds to me like you don't really have like an exact answer for like how to balance it all. Like you just are basically right now. It's like you're the guinea pig. You're testing it out. You know, like the day-to-day life. You're just figuring it out as you go.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm trying a lot of different stuff right now. Like just like. For example, the videos that I was doing on YouTube, like the weekly things I was doing, I was trying that out, and eventually I got burnt out. Like I didn't like doing it that much, but I tried it. So
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that with your recent experiences. Right before we hopped on the show, me and Drew were talking a little bit just about specific things. I had questions for him, and we obviously wanted to save most of the content for everyone to see. But Drew mentioned something about his more recently is when he's started to struggle mentally with keeping up, when he started having higher standards and more expectations for his YouTube channel. So that is exactly what I want to ask you to elaborate on for everyone to hear, because I think for me, if I'm not about to go through that right now, I'm already started, like, as I'm starting to put some standards and expectation on the Bigger Picture podcast, I'm already starting to like feel some stress and negative emotions from what started as just, you know, just for fun, just to help people.
Oh yeah.
No negativity at all. So if you just elaborate about that.
Yeah, so like your first question when you asked me about the YouTube, I was just doing that for fun. There was no thought into it. And then up until recently, I was like, okay, how do I take my stuff to the next level? Because I know how important consistency is. And so I was like, oh, I'll post weekly videos, because I had been watching a lot of, like, you remember Balin Levine?
Yeah,
I was watching a lot of him
Balin's
recently.
Gone huge recently.
So I was watching a lot of him. I was like, oh, I kind of want to try doing that, just messing around doing weekly videos. So we did the first one, and I loved it. I was like, oh wow, this is really cool. I think I found it.
That's sick.
And then we did it like a few more weeks of the videos, and then about up until like a month of doing it every single week, I was like, God, dude, I'm getting really burnt out. And
it
was actually about a month in, maybe a month and a half, or anyways, so yeah, we got to like the month, and I was like, wow, dude, editing this every week and going out, because we would post the videos on like Wednesdays and then go and film like Thursdays and Fridays, and then I would edit it
for the next
Wednesday, which sounds fine if you like love doing it, but I didn't like doing it. So
damn.
Yeah. So no, I just got burnt out really fast once I started getting serious. So I don't know what I'm gonna do next, but that's been very recently the struggle I've run into with YouTube.
Damn. So that makes for extremely interesting timing for this podcast, for this show in particular, because I'm basically like, all right, I'm excited to like get this YouTube stuff going. And then the first person I'm interviewing, the one that I'm like, this is like my film guy. This is my boy out of everyone that I went to high school with. Like, he's like the film dude in the industry. And then I've got Drew coming on the show telling me that, like, that he's like Burnout and shit, right? No.
Well, the best, you started doing the podcast, and I can tell from the way you do them, you like doing it. Right. It's when you run into the troubles of like being consistent with the production of it.
Right. So go ahead.
For me, I found that you could run into a problem, but like adding something to it every time sometimes helps, because you have that like excitement of a new thing or something. But again, if you do that, then you could run into the problem where you're like always looking for that next thing. You're never satisfied with doing what you like doing. So again, it's just a balance, but I don't know what that balance is yet. I'm still figuring that out.
So what I think really is like in my head right now, I'm like, man, this is like perfect for the show. I know no one else has experienced it. This is my own paradigm, but everything's like clicking, and I'm like, what Drew's saying, I'm having the exact same frustrations with. So when I started, because it wasn't today, I didn't decide I wanted to film today. I'll tell you guys that. You know, it's been a while since, before I even dropped the preview on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, when I had a few people just listening to me just make a voice memo. People right off the bat were saying, what about video? What about YouTube, right? So it's been a while that filming has been in the back of my mind. But when I actually recently, after the Super Ego and ID episode dropped, when I actually was like, okay, I've got guest speakers scheduled to come on soon. I want to film those. I want to get TikTok. I want to get a TikTok account going, a LinkedIn, social media platforms to get video out there, to get my name out there, to get this show out there, so people can actually hear it, right? It's very limited on the exposure right now. And right off the bat, before I'd even made one video, I'm getting frustrated with just making cover art, just getting applications for stuff, right? Like just making accounts, just getting shit linked up. It's extremely frustrating if you're not like a computer whiz, so to speak. I'm not a computer wizard. It takes me a lot of time to figure shit out on these software platforms. So for me, it's like, look, moving forward, I am 100%, as soon as I have the money to hire on a team, that's done, you know? Like, and really, as soon I basically have the finances for a team that are already there. Now it's getting the right people, you know? So like we already talked about, and on the show, if you're cool with me bringing this up, that I wanted to bring you on the team. Yeah, I still do. But if you want to speak on, like, honestly, whether you see us collabing, you coming to the bigger picture in the future or not, because I won't take it personally. I understand you got your own shit. But if you wanted to speak on that.
Definitely doing my own thing is very important to me. So probably not, honestly.
I got that vibe when we first talked about it.
I definitely thought about it. I was like, oh, maybe this could be kind of a cool thing. Like, we collab and I help him with his thing, he helps me with mine. But I was like, damn, I'm always like, I like, collaborating to me is so important. It's like the most fun I have with film or YouTube or anything I do. But like that combining factor, I still want to like do my own thing. So that's very important to me.
I see. You don't like the idea of getting recruited onto bigger picture.
No, I've always like, I don't like working for other people.
Same.
I like to eventually like do my own thing. So
100%. All respect for that. Definitely. Definitely a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. Definitely a little disappointed, guys. I really wanted editor right here. He was my top recruit.
We already talked about like getting the like gear and stuff though.
No. So basically, I got my answer. I got my answer there, but to wrap that conversation up, I completely understand. I'm not someone that I can't stand working for other people.
Mm-hmm.
I do have a job right now. The only reason I can work there is because it's finally like hands-on, you know, with like the construction and stuff like that, and very part-time and much better pay.
So what are you doing?
So I just recently, like 3 weeks ago, no, now 4 weeks ago, I got hired at Bohemian Stoneworks in Sebastopol. It's right by the Barlow.
Okay.
So basically, I just make shit out of concrete, basically.
Oh, really?
And like cement, yeah. So it's just like grinding the stuff and I'll get that later. Just like grinding the stuff out, like pouring the cement, mixing the materials together.
Okay.
It's a bunch of stuff, but it's a lot more interesting for me. I can have my earbuds in the whole time, you know, have a trading podcast on.
Yeah.
Be listening to my stuff. What can I improve on? Be listening to, you know, Mindset Mentor Rob Dial.
Oh, that's such a good podcast.
Yeah, such a good podcast. Literally Rob Dial and Jeff Logan from Becoming the Beast podcast. Those two were the reason why I started a podcast, in all honesty. I am, you know, like reading books. I've got audiobooks too and stuff like that. But those two podcasts really, like, for personal development, like, really woke me up. Or basically exposed the whole ins and outs of it to me, and the importance of it to me.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That definitely.
How it can change your life.
Oh yeah.
So going on, I don't have too many more questions for you here, Drew. This has been great so far, by the way, bro.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask about, what do you do for your mental health and whatever you feel, talking about personally, for mental health and personal development, personal, like, self-care, you know, like refilling your cup when you're feeling burnout.
So I have been doing, you can call it self-development. I'll get into that for a second, but since the beginning of the year, I was in a very, I don't know why when I look back into it, but I was at a very low point. I don't know why. Mm-hmm. And then I started listening to Rob Dial a lot, and I got into that kind of thing slowly. I don't remember how exactly I got into it, but I know it was like at the beginning of the year, and then I slowly started doing that. I got introduced to meditation. I got introduced to a lot of like financial stuff, like financial books and that kind of thing, very recently. But yeah, I'd say meditation a lot, and then getting a morning routine type thing going. Yeah. Even though I kind of hate routines now, I've been slacking on it, but yeah, they're very important, that whole thing. I'm then working out. I started working out a lot more, listening to the podcasts. But to answer your question, most of it has been podcasts, and then very recently I listened to an episode of Rob's where it was talking about self-development isn't the things that you do, like meditation, or like, what was the other thing he was talking about? But like, or like working
or like
out,
journaling.
Yeah, journaling.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing that a lot more. I do journaling a lot, like gratitude journals.
Journaling's
like,
lit.
Yeah, it is very good. Like when you have a problem and you just like have to write it down, and you're like, it's very helpful.
Rob says, would you do a super complicated math problem
in
your head, or would you write the thing out? And it's like, okay, now multiply, you know, that the magnitude of that problem is now, you know, to the nth degree harder to figure out when it's life and not numbers and shit. So it's like writing out does make
so
a big
much
difference.
easier. And I would say, so journaling a lot. Gratitude journals are great. What was the other thing I was talking about? But like with self-development, he recently had an episode where he was talking about self-development isn't journaling, working out, or meditation. It's more of like the things you experience throughout the day and how you handle them. So say you have your morning routine where you journal, you meditate, you do your workout, and then later in the day you have an argument with your wife or something like that.
Right. And
you get really mad, and whatever reaction you have.
Yeah.
That is actually the self-development rather than the morning routine of the journaling and the meditation and all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
Because of the things you take from experiences in your day and how you react to them.
It's how you apply it in your own life, right?
Yeah.
Drew, you nailed that segment. And I heard Rob talking about that he's like, hey man, you can listen to 30 podcasts in a month. Great. I haven't, you know, maybe I have done that, but it's not like like that's still it's a nice accomplishment right there, listening to 30 podcasts in 30 days. But he's like, unless you actually took something from each of those episodes and worked on it in your own life and applied it to your own life, you didn't actually, you know, develop yourself that much. You just learned something. But you could learn something in a class, or you could learn something in a book or on a podcast, you know, like, or you would be learning from that podcast. But you nailed it. You have to apply it in your own life. If you learn about, for example, how to have more patience with loved ones in your life when they're doing something that, say, maybe like you don't really like, it's frustrating you. Say, like you said, your wife's frustrating you at home, and you just listened to Rob talk about maybe a breathing technique. Yeah. So after she yelled at you when you're frustrated with her raising her voice, did you breathe? Did you use that new breathing technique? Yeah. Or did you just scream right back at her? Exactly. And so I think you nailed that, bro.
Yeah, it's very cool to think about.
But that is cool. Self-development, not just reading about, okay, more people that have more composure genuinely get what they want more often in life than people with less composure. Yeah. That's great. Anyone could read that stat. Now, how do you work on your composure?
Exactly. And it goes into like, you can read anything, like you were saying, but you have to take action eventually. Yeah. You won't get anywhere without taking action. And like life is just 90% failure. So
100%.
You gotta fail. And
so that was my favorite answer so far. Not to say this, because the start of the show was great. You guys can probably see it, and I want to watch back and see. I get like pretty excited like halfway through this thing, because I'm like, this thing's rolling, you know, this thing's flowing.
Yeah, we had to warm up a little bit.
yeah, we had to warm up, but that was my favorite answer right there for your self-care and self-development, because I honestly am into like the same exact stuff. And so meditating, with the breath work, that stuff's incredible.
Yeah, ever since I started doing that, I've been wanting to like share with someone else, and it's so crazy. It's like living a whole different life.
Right. When
even though there's still, even breathe. Though like those like depression days or like those slow days will never go away, but how you deal with them is the self-development part.
Yeah. Last thing, and then we'll move on to the last question. I heard someone say, his name's Matt Rosa. When I was in Miami in March for that business event, he said, breathe, man. It's free. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the few actually free things in this world is oxygen, you know? And like, and it's arguably the most essential. So, just breathe. It's free. That's all I got for you. Very cool. But the last question for you, Drew, and I think you've already kind of touched up on this a little bit. I was just going to ask about your upcoming plans for the show. And now if you wanted to reiterate for what this recent burnout, and if you don't even have an answer for me, if you want to say like literally what's going on in your mind right now with your YouTube channel.
The YouTube channel, I don't know what it's going to do. I'm more focused on films, because the burnout made me realize how much I don't like doing that consistent weekly YouTube thing.
So it was the editing, right? It wasn't filming?
No, it was going out and like...
It was going out and filming too.
Yeah, I would just call it the entire process of having to, while also doing school, and it goes back to the balance. I didn't have a balance, and YouTube wasn't doing it for my passion. So I would say I do want to do more randomly filmed YouTube videos. Like I might film one soon where it's like I'm reacting to like a scene in a movie or something and breaking it down.
Yeah,
something like that.
That would be sick. That'd be sick.
But yeah, the vlogs type thing it's just a lot. It's a lot to do in a week with like a whole schedule thing. And but yeah, the burnout, I definitely would say I learned a lot from that, like going to film. But with YouTube, doing that weekly thing, I learned so much about retention and keeping people engaged in a thing that I can apply to film. So like I would upload a video to YouTube, and you know how you can have like the analytics and stuff on the video. I don't know if you know what that is.
I've started to see like on Apple Podcasts, I can see like the stats of that stuff. And on Spotify, I think too, but I'm sure it works the same way.
On YouTube, the analytics are crazy. So you can see like the click-through rate of like how good your thumbnail is. You can see the average percentage views and how long people are viewing, and they'll show like a graph of like where the most viewers are.
Damn.
Where people dip off.
Okay,
so what
nothing
I would do,
like that.
Okay. So what I would do is I would have like a notes open, and I would go each week or for each video and really study that graph and figure out why people were not clicking on, but like watching longer or dipping off and that kind of thing. And like I would journal about it and that cool thing. So I learned a lot about from that I could apply to film. I would say I learned a lot through that.
So basically, moving forward, your focus is film. Your focus is getting good grades, getting the degree, getting into the film industry, and not, if I'm remembering correctly, never like selling yourself for the money or for someone else's dream. Like you'll be going into the industry thinking Andrew Carniglia Productions.
I can actually speak on that. So very recently, I did a job for film where I got paid for like the first time, and I was doing it just for the money, and I did not like it. So I realized that I don't like doing it for the money, which is cool and all, but
hey, Drake says I told my mama I'd never be a slave to the weld.
Yeah, with school and stuff, it's very complicated. I could talk about this for hours because I don't really like the school system that much, and so I think after the JC, I will get my AS done and maybe take a year off. That's what I kind of want to do right now. That's what I'm thinking. But just kind of like internship somewhere.
Okay, an internship is looking like the move possibly for me to next year. So 2023, when I would possibly be going to a 4-year, that's when I'm gonna I'll have enough classes for the finance major, because right now I'm a stats major, but I'll be changing that to a finance major when I transfer from the JC. So then I'll be looking for an internship to get out of just me trading, which is great. I love trading. I'm not going away from it. But then I'll actually be building, the credibility and stuff for when I get my degree to get a big time finance position. Because there's a lot of competition for that shit,
What I believe in is you learn so much more by just doing 1 month or 1 summers of like internships than you would a year at school. Because you're actually doing the thing rather than
going through the process of the real life. This is how real life works, not the simulated book.
And you're gonna fail.
Model.
You're gonna fail so much more by going through the internships and stuff. But you'll learn so much more. Because you have to fail. You have to just try stuff and fail. Yeah.
I fuck with that, Drew. No, that is a good way to end up today, to wrap up today's show. I think I honestly could not have seen this going much better. Just because Drew gave us so much great content. He gave me a lot of solid not advice, and you guys everyone watching this, I don't think he advised me anything with the podcast. He was just answering my questions for things I'm interested in, different streams. Will I take the podcast this way? Will I take it this way? Drew, because he's already been in the industry, and I am kind of mixing it with finance, another big passion of mine. Drew's all into film. So Drew, you guys have not seen the last of Drew, I'll tell you that, even though he did reject me from a full-time position with Bigger Picture Podcast.
Not allowed back.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up today's episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We're going to get this now, as I said, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Those are the goals. We're going to run this podcast up on guest speakers for sure. I really enjoyed this. This is the first interview I've done, so I would love to keep this going. Let me know what you guys think. I really want more feedback from my listeners. So if you guys have any comments, something you want to learn about, something you want me to learn about and talk to someone about, solo episode, I don't know. Just let me know what you guys want to learn more about, because I'm down for it. But anyway, everyone, stay grateful, stay humble, stay hungry. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.